The Vancouver Canucks' future hinges on this happening and is heading into next year with multiple key players set to make a huge leap in their development. The Canucks management is banking on their young future stars to take the next step going into next year as they look to win a Stanley Cup for the city of Vancouver. We're going to break down these key prospects, young players, and so many more pieces that need to align as the Canucks' future hinges on them taking the next step. We're going to break down all this in this episode. You're not going to want to miss it. So let's just hop straight into it today. Where we did see a report dropping 2 days ago on the Hockey News by Tony. This will be linked down below, but they go into the Vancouver Canucks prospect pool and how it holds up against the rest of the league. Now, this really inspired me to do a dive on the Vancouver Canucks, where we can see they said the Canucks don't have a particularly strong prospect pool, which is a bit perplexing considering they made the playoffs twice in the past decade. Now listen, I can't argue with this at the very moment. We know the Canucks have not been consistently a playoff team for quite some time. Going into it, we've seen the Canucks miss the playoffs last year after going into the conference semifinals. They missed 3 years previous before going into the semifinals once again. They lost in the first round in 2015, and the success around the Canucks has been questionable, especially when you're not looking at the fact that they haven't brought in a lot of top-end talent. And by talent, I mean prospects. Now looking at a lot of teams, we know Macklin, Celebrini, Connor Bedard. The Canucks do not have a player like this in their system. Now, to be fair, most teams in the National Hockey League don't, but the Canucks have been either screwed by themselves, by the league, or just plain unlucky when it comes to draft selections. Over the past decade, they haven't been able to get a top pick, a top 3 pick, the number 1 overall pick. They have not been able to bring in that one key player that could have accelerated this team. But Patrik Allvin has done a good job with management to bring in some players that are going to soften the load. Now going into the first one, Braden Coots, who was drafted 15th overall by the Canucks in this past draft, looking like an absolute steal at number 15, 26 goals, 63 points. Going out with over a point per game, Coots was phenomenal with the Seattle Thunderbirds, captaining the team going into the season, and I expect him to be back there at some point next season. We're going to see the preseason with the Canucks. Maybe he gets a stint with the team before being sent back, but Coots is looking like a second-line center of the future. A one-man forecheck. Coots' motor and energy are undeniably elite. In a single shift, he can amass multiple retrievals, guiding opponents into big hits, spinning off checks and passing, winning another race by winning inside position. The big thing with Coots is he's going to come into this team in the future as a complete player, a captain of an already team, going in with the leadership and having all the tools to be a perfect center around the league. Now, the big thing with the Canucks, and we know the biggest question around this team, is how the center position is going to unfold this year. We know Elias Pettersson needs to take the next step. Filip Hronek is going to need a bounce back year after missing some time from a dirty hit in the league last season. Aatu Räty needs to take a jump, and we will touch on him very shortly. Teddy Blueger and Niels Amund. This is a team that really needs center depth. We know since JT Miller left, they've been fighting and struggling to find that permanent number 2 center. We've seen the reports from Pavel Zacha all the way to Mason McTavish, but with this Canucks team not having that bona fide number 2 center, Coots is going to play a crucial part on this team for the years to come. Now, Coots is going to be a couple of years away. This could be 2, 3, or 4 years, but there is one player looking to make an immediate impact going into, and some people might argue not a prospect at this point, but Aatu Räty. Now, I did a full video going into Räty on how he's going to have a breakout season. It's imminent for this kid. 22 years old, a part of the Bo Horvat trade. We've seen with the Canucks last year, 11 points over 33 games, but that doesn't tell the entire story of Aatu Räty. With Aatu, we know he has been excellent on the faceoffs. He's developed quite well in the AHL, and he's set to make a jump and probably become a permanent center on this Canucks team as early as next season. Now, the biggest thing with Aatu Räty, and a lot of people don't even realize, is how good he is on faceoffs. Last year with the Canucks, 192 wins, 141 losses for 57.7% on the dot. This is unheard of from players of this age. Stepping up, taking big draws, and he's going to play a crucial part on the penalty kill with this team as well, with Dakota Joshua, Pius Suter, JT Miller all exiting this team. We're going to see Räty take that next step and hopefully look and become a second line center with the Canucks sooner rather than later. He also has a big frame. He throws hits, 80 hits over 33 games. If Ratu's ice time continues to rise from 10 minutes and 39 seconds all the way to 14 or 15, we're going to see a huge season out of the young player as he makes his way in as a permanent guy. Now, continuing down, we're going to keep the trend of forwards going, and debatably a 1A or 1B prospect for the Vancouver Canucks is Jonathan Lekkerimäki. Now, with Jonathan Lekkerimäki, we know wasn't having the hottest start to his career with the Canucks, playing a lot of bottom six. Tocchet really didn't know how to use them. 3 goals, 3 assists for 6 total points. Going back to Abbotsford, putting up 19 goals in 36 games. And the biggest thing is, going into the playoffs, he did struggle a bit, but really stepped up in the finals to help Abbotsford secure their first ever Calder Cup win with this team. Now with Aatu Räty, drafted by the Canucks, looking like a future star when it comes to goal scoring, 15th overall in 2022, Lekkerimäki is going to have to take a step, and it gets interesting going back to the lineups on how he fits in. We know on this right side, Brock Boeser, Conor Garland, Kiefer Sherwood is pretty much locked, and it's going to get interesting on how Adam Foote wants to deploy Jonathan Lekkerimäki if he's getting into this lineup next season. Looking at the right side, Linus Karlsson is there. Kravtsov is another guy that could get into this lineup, but Lekkerimäki is someone that should get some stints with the Canucks, and I think he's going to show his worth and be an awesome penalty or power play, not penalty kill, player to join this team. Now listen, looking at the future, there is one name that is going to take a massive step and finally sign his ELC just a few months ago, and that is Tom Willander. Tom Willander looks like the cream of the crop when it comes to Canucks prospects, a right-handed defenseman everyone wants, 20 years old, everyone's even more wanting of, and still a bona fide top 4 defenseman when he hits his peak. Now listen, a lot of these guys might not take the jump that is expected. A lot of these guys could end up fading out and not hitting the potential, but the biggest thing is, with Tom Willander, there's a lot hinging on him making this Canucks team, and there's a lot of players on that right side. Now looking at the right side, we know Tyler Myers, 35 years old, has a couple of years left under the tank, playing some of the best hockey he has had. DPD, Victor Mancini, and Tom Willander are all guys I'm expecting to have a very good battle in camp, trying to get into the rotation. Now we know on the right side, Filip Hronek will be here for quite some time. Quinn Hughes is going to sign his extension. We know Marcus Pettersson, Derek Forbert. This is a Canucks blue line that can get younger, and they have the players coming up through the system. A lot is hinging on the future of this team, looking at the prospects. And listen, I didn't even touch on half the guys. We know Medvedev was someone they drafted this year, replacing Artur as the prospect goaltender of the future. Coots is a guy, Mueller, Sasson. There's so many guys within this Canucks system that I do think a lot of writers and fans kind of write off these guys joining the team and how much value they have for this organization. This Canucks future is depending on these guys taking the next step. We know this team at some point is going to have some guys getting out of their prime. A lot of the guys are in it or going into it, but getting cheap guys on their ELCs or just cheap rookie deals are exactly what sets apart a lot of championship teams, where you see guys playing at a $5 million pace but only getting paid $1 million. Canucks fans, what is your thoughts on the future of this team? What Canucks prospect are you most excited for? I didn't touch on half these guys, and I'd love to break down a bunch of them as well. Is there anyone that stands out the most that's going to be able to dictate the future of this team moving forward? Is there a prospect that you think the Canucks should move on from? Let me know all this down below. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark. Bye, and take care.